Now it goes with real estate, and the real way I was getting at this, you wrote your goal that you wanted to sell X amount of homes. I think you really have to drill down on what you're willing and unwilling to do to get there. Because if you're willing to work all the days you work by calling your sphere of influence, knocking on doors, going to all the places where buyers are going to be, calling your past clients, doing all the things within a course of a day, or you're going to say that I'm unwilling to give up my free time, and that's okay. But don't put such a lofty goal. You have to put it to where it is that you're willing or unwilling to do. Is there intro music to this podcast?
Intro music is, it's playing, baby.
Okay.
So, you know what, people, I'm actually pretty excited about today because Dan Manginelli is here. We've known each other, I want to say we're going on 30 years.
About 30.
And I'm going to tell you this. Here's your intro to Dan Manginelli. I don't know why you put up with me, and I don't know why I put up with you, and that's a part of this business that sometimes we just don't get, but it was a match made in heaven, and we talked about, and that's awkward, like our first experience. If we get into our second experience, and the first experience that I had with you in real estate, you made the client cry.
Right?
Yeah, the second one, you made the agent cry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did. That happened, too.
Yeah. Drive, keep driving. So that was my first two transactions in this business. Both of them, well, no, actually the second one I saved, but the first one failed, and the second one we put together. But and I'm honestly being a little bit, I don't know, whatever on it. I got an opportunity to meet Dan, and I actually got lucky meeting Dan because somebody else didn't show up, and he was in the right place for me at that time. And the rest is history. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do, kind of, and this and that, because I rambled.
No, there's no ramble. I've been in the real estate industry on the finance side for 37 years. I've written 2 books. One's called Wake Up, Jumpstart the Life You've Always Had in Mind, and one's called Shake It Up, Big Dreams and Bold Choices on the Road to Success. I've been part of growing a couple companies, luckily selling them both to privately held companies or publicly owned companies. Speak quite a bit.
Public
right
speaking,
now.
coach.
Right now, coach, and right now I'm really working on my podcast, which is called WTF. Where's the focus? And it's about where your focus goes, your energy flows, which a lot of us focus on the wrong stuff, which goes your energy that way, which then I have some guests and have some fun.
So that was a great intro, but what he didn't tell you and what you guys didn't ask, there's been some failures in there. You talked about a lot of success, but you didn't talk about any of the failures.
Well, I mean, there's way more failures than there are successes. If that's the case, if you're asking me what failures there were. So I mean, you talking about market failures or just
in general. So
let's take a couple of failures. I've been in the industries for that long. So you've been through cycles, right? So you've been through the cycle, the '93 cycle. Where more it was aerospace, where a lot of people lost their jobs. The foreclosure market came, business kind of turned off in some cases. And then you take in the early to just about 2000s, and you take the tech bubble happened. Same thing. A lot of money was invested in that. It changed the market for values of real estate to come down. And then the financial crisis is the one everybody knows. Is in 2007 and 8. That one was the toughest. We at one point took a company and we merged with another company, become the 9th largest lender in the United States, and in one day, Control-Alt-Delete happened, and boom, like that, there was over 1,000 people, 1,500 people out of jobs within a day, and it was tough. I mean, from that point,
you were playing golf that day.
I was playing golf that day.
Maybe you should have been at the office.
Maybe. Well, I was counting where I was going to retire. I was looking at my stock price, going, "This is the greatest," and then all that comes crumbling down. But in a way where you learn from each one of those defeats. I mean, each time when the market turns, you learn a little bit more on how to save money, number one. But you learn that nothing is going to continue the way it is unless you can grow from each opportunity. And I think that the failure of, let's say, the 2007, from that point, I think it brought into light the ability for people to realize that everybody thought they were better than they were, including myself. I think the market made us feel like we were invincible. And we were smarter than we were, and we were better than a lot of people, and it fed so many egos, and it really brought to light that the market, and there was good people and some great things that happened and good things came from it, but I think everybody thought they were a little better than they were. I think money fueled a lot of things in a lot of ways, and that's what happens. Your ego gets way out of check when
we got punched in the nose. Big
Yeah.
time. We got punched in the nose big time. And you know, I think that one of the most, more recently, I mean, we can talk about 2022, 2023, and that, you know, there's a lot of people that are in this business, and COVID hit, and we thought, hey, the world's coming to an end with regard to the real estate market and our industry, and it actually ended up being pretty good. And then all of a sudden, things just stopped because of supply and
Yeah.
demand.
It
And
fueled, I think, when you're talking about people thinking they're better than they were. And a lot of money was made in 2020.
Right.
A lot of money was put into the economy. A lot of money was put into a lot of people's pockets. And, you know, just like the American way, they just took the money and they saved it. No, they didn't.
No.
They spent every dime. So
Thank
with
you.
that, they spent it, and they didn't, realizing like, oh my gosh, I have extra funds, and they pumped it into the economy, which is causing everything that's happening now. That's a whole different story. But real estate became very big because people didn't have to work in an office, right? And they realized I can work from other places, and I can be efficient, and I can do things. So I can buy a house, and I can add onto my house, and I can do things. So it fueled that, and then when the Feds reduced interest rates down in the twos, that fueled a whole over $2 trillion or so was refinanced at that time. It was a huge number. So it was big changes that happened, and that's another time that people thought they were better than they were, and it would never stop. And then different on 21, still riding it a little bit. 2022 came and someone turned off the hose. It was like drinking from a water hose for a year, and then someone just turned off.
I call
the
it more
faucet.
like a fire hydrant.
Okay, so they turned off the faucet.
Yeah.
And when they turned off the faucet, it really opened eyes to a lot of things, like, you know, the people that they were doing business with, the quality of the people, and the knowledge of the people. I think people realized what they didn't know because it was so easy.
So I'm going to ask this question because you've unraveled a whole lot of stuff there, and you've talked about a lot. But really, our show is about helping agents overcome things and helping people in our industry overcome. So we talked about, hey, there's been some bad stuff that's happened to you in this business, and some things that you'd have to overcome. What is the advice that you give to somebody that's out there that says, hey, I'm struggling? Because majority of the people in this business fail, period.
Yeah. I just did a great talk, and I did a great talk that was about not necessarily goals, about what people write down. It's the beginning of the year in January. Everybody writes down the list of things, and they write them in affirmations that I want to weigh 155 pounds, 120 pounds, or they want to do the things. And probably late December, I read a book. The title's not that great. It's called "Un-F Yourself," and they use the word that's what's in there.
I've read that book.
By Bishop. And what people kind of missed in one of the first chapters of that book that kind of helped me change a lot of my perception about people writing goals is what you're willing or unwilling to do. I think that you write things down like you want to weigh a certain amount, which goes to health and fitness. I'm using that because everybody writes that in the beginning of the year. Everybody wants to be more fit and they want to lose weight. I think that the key to that is you need to ask yourself, really, what am I willing or unwilling to do? Because most people are saying, yeah, I'm willing to go on a diet. So are you willing to eat chicken and broccoli majority for the first 4, 5, 6 months? Are you willing to only lose 2 pounds a week, maybe in that case? Are you willing to do that? Or the case would be, are you willing to give up all the other foods that are probably better tasting in your mind? Pizza, ice cream, late night eating, all those different things. When you're honest with yourself and you say, I'm really unwilling to give some of that stuff up. I really am. I enjoy that so much. I enjoy that. I'm unwilling. Stop telling yourself that you want to lose 30 pounds if you're not willing to do the things that get there. Now, it goes with real estate, and the real way I was getting at this, you wrote your goal that you wanted to sell X amount of homes. I think you really have to drill down on what you're willing and unwilling to do to get there. Because if you're willing to work all the days you work by calling your sphere of influence, knocking on doors, going to all the places where buyers are going to be, calling your past clients, doing all the things within a course of a day, or you're going to say that I'm unwilling to give up my free time, and that's okay. But don't put such a lofty goal. You have to put it to where it is that you're willing or unwilling to do. And to answer that, I was driving because I don't read books that much. Even though I wrote a book, I don't read them. I listen to books quite a bit. And I missed my exit, and I went about 30 miles away from where I was going, just because it started making me think on my faith, my family, so many different things. I just need to analyze, what are you willing to do about it? Right. What are you unwilling to do? And you need to be honest about the unwilling. There's certain things that, here's the case. I would love for me and you to go on a month-long golf trip. Be awesome.
I'm in.
Let's go to Bandon Dunes, let's do it,
okay.
Right? So are we willing to leave our business, leave our family, probably not have my wife talk to me, lose half my stuff again, right? Do the things, are we willing to do that? I'm unwilling to take that chance of not, being with my family, my kids. So stop saying that I want to go on a month-long trip.
So let me interject here, because I see where you're going with this, and I like it. But I think that the real conversation to have with is, okay, once you've discovered what you're willing to do, then it's making adjustments. So your first example you were giving about, fitness and things like that. Hey, I'm not willing to give up this food or this food or this food.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what adjustments are we willing to make, and then making sure that
Correct.
goal is in line with it. Don't tell me you're going to lose 10 pounds in the first month if you're not willing to give up all these things and not exercise. But it's not unreasonable to say, hey, I'm willing for this to take a year to get where I'm going and making this work, because I am willing to cut out this bad habit, 2 or 3 times a week instead of every single meal. Okay, I have my cheat days or whatever the case may be, and I can still accomplish that.
What most people do is they set something, the bar way out of reach.
Of course.
I'm going to lose 25 pounds in 2 months, right? I'm
Right.
going to do the cookie diet. Right? It's not sustainable. I think what you're saying is right. When you're willing or unwilling to do those things, put them in pieces.
Right.
And then you have to figure out, okay, so if I'm willing to call my sphere, door knock, call my past clients, go out and find business, be around people that want to purchase homes or be in that area. If that's the case, don't tell yourself you're going to do it every day, 7 days a week, because you're not. Do it for 2 hours a day. Take that piece. I'm willing to do this from 9 to 11 o'clock. That's what I'm willing to do. Now, I'm unwilling to do it from 7 p.m. till 9 because that's my family time. Well, then just do what you're willing to do.
So, figuring out what we're willing to do and not willing to do. One of the chapters in your book, you talk about your why and finding out your why and figuring that out.
Right.
And that feeds right into that. What I'm willing to do, well, why is it that I'm willing to do that? Why is it that I'm not willing to do that?
Right.
But I also want to talk about this. You've mentioned that a lot of people make these extreme goals and they go out there and they just don't do them. And so stop making these extreme goals. But sometimes we come across somebody that they make an extreme goal and they are willing to do.
Correct.
And what triggered, or what is creating that trigger, in your opinion, that has gotten them from like over here to like over here? What mechanism is turned on that, boom, now all of a sudden there is no lose?
Yeah, I have four keys to success.
Okay.
One's communication, right? The worst thing people say all the time is, no news is good news. That couldn't be the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, right? If anybody's ever bought anything, they want to know if they've got it or they didn't get it.
Exactly.
And communication is the biggest, it dissolves so many relationships, business relationships. I'm not even talking personal, right? So communication is key, letting people in that. Consistency. If you're not consistent on the way you do things and you do it on a plan and over, you can say you want to lose weight, but you're only going to work out once. That's not consistent, right? So those are the two, communication and consistency. And these are the ones that I want to say that's hard to teach, is desire, right? Everybody wants more, to be more, have more, do more. Everybody wants it. I think they have a desire to do that. The key is keeping the desire, which is number 4.
Right.
That's the tough part. I can use a great analogy for yourself, right? So you have a desire.
Keep the desire. Okay.
Keeping the desire is tough because what happens is you forget, right?
Right.
Remember that time that you drank way too much tequila and then you threw up and then you said, I'm never, ever, 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 please God, get me through this night, with your head on the side of the toilet, right? Please get me through this night and I will never drink again.
It was
right?
bad tequila.
So that was desire. You had the desire to quit.
That was bad tequila.
You had the desire to quit.
That was bad tequila.
Keeping the desire is the toughest part because I'll tell you what, 2 months are going to go by, 3 months are going to go by, and someone's going to say, well, the first week's going to go by, and I'm going, hey, let's go have a beer, and you're like, I am so far out, man. Me and God made a deal, and he said if I got through that night, that I would never drink again, and I'm not drinking. Then 2 weeks go by, and it's like, hey, we're going to go watch the game, and you're like, I'll go. Oh, 1 beer's not bad. It's not tequila. I won't do that. Then 4 months go by, and then you're doing shots with your friends somewhere else because keeping that desire that you actually did is the toughest part. So rewind to your question was, what is it about someone that can set a big goal and obtain that goal? Everybody has a desire to achieve that high number, but keeping that desire when you just don't feel like it is the difference.
Okay. How do you keep the desire?
That's, again, there's so many things you can teach. You could teach You could teach people how to communicate. I can teach them how to stay consistent. I can teach them how to want more. The toughest one to coach is someone who, in their business right now, you're right where you are, but you're looking at the top producer and you're saying, that's who I want to be. I'm here right now, but that's who I want to be.
And I always question that, because when somebody looks at something like that, first of all, when you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you're starting to put yourself, you're starting to get in trouble.
I'm not saying on you're comparing to the dead. I'm saying if that's the numbers that you want.
Right.
I do know that you ran a triathlon.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Remember Mr. Ironman?
Yeah, I remember.
You did that, remember that? Okay, I was
And
there.
I don't remember how I kept the desire from beginning to end.
Because you didn't give yourself a choice.
That's true.
You committed to it because it's a commitment. As a matter of fact, you couldn't do so many things with us because you had to train for an Ironman.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, by the way. Congratulations on that.
And
but
how many times did you give me a hard time about that?
I would never. I supported you 100%.
Really?
I never said bad words. But I mean,
and you've never had too much tequila either.
Never. So what I'm getting at is you made the plan, right?
Right.
But you had the desire to do it, but you kept the desire even though through the whole thing. So why I'm bringing this up, you said you looked at something or someone. You looked at those people that did Ironmans in the past.
Right.
And you said, like, this is where I am, because you ran marathons before.
Yep.
But that's who I want to be.
Interesting.
You wanted to actually complete an Ironman. And if no one would have ever done it, would you have said, I want to swim 2.5 miles, run a full marathon, and bike to Kansas?
I would have probably picked something else. But I mean, for me, it was a humbling moment. And that was, I find it interesting. You mentioned earlier, we are right now in our lives exactly where we want to be. And one of my favorite things about our relationship is there's been a lot of evolution that has gone on. I used to be a shitty agent. Or I'll call it mediocre.
Okay.
Used to be mediocre agent.
What's below mediocre?
What's below mediocre? Yeah,
Just kidding. Go
yeah. So, didn't survive. But you know what? Made changes. And you were patient.
Yeah.
You were a very patient man with me. And just kept reminding and kept reminding and kept reminding. And then one day, boom, it just turns on.
Yeah.
And
I think you could coach somebody who you see is willing to do the things. And as I just said before, if it wasn't here, it was before, everybody wants to be taught, meaning like, teach me. Yeah, of course I do. But they lack the willingness to learn. They lack the willingness. As soon as you say to someone like, this works, and you do it, and like, yeah, that works for other people. Like cardio works for other people to lose weight. I mean, running works for other people to lose weight. For me, what I like to do is just not eat for 9 days. That's how I
had that
lose
exact
weight.
conversation in this room a couple of days ago. This might sound familiar to you. Oh, online leads don't work.
Yeah.
And then I pointed to an agent and I said, how many online leads did you close last year? And I think he said like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And I said, And then I looked back at the other person, and here was their answer. Instead of saying, oh, online leads do work. Well, but that was different. I'm all like,
yeah, no.
you're just
There's the
not ready
difference
for it.
between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A growth mindset, again, is someone who wants to grow, that wants to learn, that is eager, right, to get the information. A fixed mindset says, it doesn't work for me, so it must not work.
But and here, I'm not picking on that person that was saying, it's not working. But what I really want to analyze or talk about is, hey, how do we create that mind shift change of recognizing, okay, you said that this can't be done, boom. Because you brought up the Ironman. You're right. It would have been a whole lot harder if I'd never seen anybody do it. It was hard. Don't get me wrong, people, it was hard. But it would have been a whole lot harder if I'd never seen, if I would have been the first and, hey, we got this bright idea, let's go do this.
Right.
No, we can't do that. That's not humanly possible.
Right.
But, 4-minute mile wasn't humanly possible until somebody broke it, and then all of a sudden,
It's Roger Bannister.
yeah, left and right, everybody's doing it.
Right.
So part of that whole thing is just the mind opening up to having an acceptance that, hey, it is possible.
But everybody gets it at a different time.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
One of the best books ever written is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, written in 1937. And in the foreword of that book, the foreword, not even the chapter, the foreword, it says, no man is willing to make a change until he is ready. No man or woman is willing to make a change for things until the things that are detrimental to their being, their health, their business, until they're ready. The key is you have to catch people like I caught you, luckily, when you were ready.
Right.
You had just moved to a new state, not new state, but a new city.
Right.
You were eager, and you had the willingness to learn, and you wanted to change. The tough part about other people, no man is willing to make a change until they're ready. The key is to find the people that are ready, and that's the difference.
Interesting. I'm having fun today. I could do this all day long, people.
I don't think anybody wants to watch this. They've tuned out probably about,
No
I don't know.
freaking
right about my
way.
first communication, consistency, desire. They might have made that. I don't know.
No, because they're still waiting for like some fabulous things to come out. They want to know what happened. The rest
We could
of
talk
the
about your
tour.
Ironman. It was awesome. So we got there like at 5 a.m. at his Ironman, and I was with him. We got on a bus. We dropped off there. I watched Nestor jump in the water and sink for a while, and then wait, let me finish.
All right.
We got there. It was 6 a.m. probably. Sun just came up.
The sun had just come up.
Just came up.
Yeah.
6 a.m. And by the way, unbelievable that he finished an Ironman. That is a feat that this is. I'm not downplaying that at all. It is unbelievable. I can't even imagine thinking of putting my body through that. But on the second note, so I get there at 6. He jumps in the water. He's there. He comes out of the water. Go, Nestor, go. He gets on his bike. Me and my buddy play a whole round of golf. Went to dinner. Took a nap. And then set our alarm to come back to watch him in the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you know what's interesting? We want to talk about friendships. We'll talk about the Ironman for a little bit. So, my why in that, I don't know if you remember, Philip was going through a young man that I mentored was going through some issues, and I didn't know how to swim. That's a part that a lot of people, they don't believe me when I talk about that, but I literally did not know how to swim, and I also refused to go get help with that. So I watched a YouTube video, and then I said, I'm going to sign up for this thing, and I signed up. And I thought it was odd because I tried to sign up for a couple of other ones and they sold out like immediately. And I got into this one and I remember calling Bill, our buddy Bill, and I'm like, I'm in. And Bill's all like, which one are you in? And he's all like, are you sure? And then he starts sending me videos. Because the water temperature, I was in St. George, Utah.
Yeah.
Water temperature was like 50 degrees.
Yeah.
And so for the next month, he sends me videos, one a day, of people being pulled out of the water for hypothermia.
It was motivation. It made you swim faster so you didn't freeze to death.
And I'm sitting there like, so give you an idea of how my friends motivate me. But that being said, you guys were actually there every single day, and you guys were holding me accountable, created a plan, had faith that the plan would work out, and 16 hours and 31 minutes and 48 seconds later, they were yelling. They were yelling my name. That you're now an Ironman.
That's right.
And I was so hungry and so done.
Cheering. I was a little tired because I had some beers on the golf course and then a lot of food for dinner, so I was a little full. And then by the time I got over, after my nap, I was a little tired to get there in 16 hours. But amazing, absolutely amazing.
Did I tell you the story about that? My mom going on the course.
Yes,
Okay.
I do remember that.
So my mom went on what had happened was you're on a chip, so you could follow the person electronically, and apparently the chip didn't go off at one of the things that I had passed, and so my mom freaked out and thought something had happened to me, and we're 15 hours into the race now, and all of a sudden I've disappeared, and she thought something had happened, and you want to talk about completing an Ironman and being determined. I'm still unsure how my mother talked a police officer. She ended up in his car. This guy was driving backwards on the course, searching for me during the race. And I'm thinking, how the hell, all of a sudden the police car comes and Mom waving at me.
You're alive! You're alive!
And how did you talk that man into doing that? Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's where I got my sales skills from. So.
Your mom talking police officers?
Well,
you're pretty good at talking police officers not taking you to jail, so that's good.
Please. You got me confused with somebody else. So anyway, should we wrap it up now?
I think so.
Okay.
People tuned out a while ago.
No, they didn't tune out. Did you guys tune out? They didn't tune out. They're still with us.
You guys work for you. They got to say yes.
No,
Come
they
on.
don't. No, they don't. Yeah. You don't understand my world. Yeah. So I'm not. No. People have no problems telling me no. So anyway, I appreciate it, guys. If you guys have any questions, want to know more about who we are, what's going on, please in the comments down below. Dan, where can they find you?
Shameless plug, you can purchase my book on my website or Amazon there. Shake it up, Big Dreams, Bold Choices. You can definitely find me on WTF, Awares of the Focus. Go to YouTube or however you listen to your podcast, type that in there. Subscribe, like, do that, listen, have a bunch of fun. It's where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Tell you what, another shameless plug, the first 15 people. Wow, that's pretty nice, man, buying 15 bucks.
15? Oh,
15, yeah, that's pretty nice. Is 15 enough?
Oh, you're paying for them.
Yeah, I'm paying for them.
Right
Of
now.
course I'm paying.
Yeah, absolutely.
What the heck's new?
That's right.
So anyway, first 15 people to comment book, and you know what? I'll get the guy to sign them too.
I could probably do that. They're just going to go down in value.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right, so if you don't want it signed, put book, please. But, yeah, don't sign
Without
it.
a doubt, put book in the comments, and we'll send you a free book. First
There we
15
go.
people.
Sweet. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.